Hello Americans, William Mean here at 1799, glad you could come around. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button, share it to all your friends, family members, churchgoers, whatever. Very few things will catch my eye. Usually I try to research a lot of stuff, but when something as haunting as this could be, I want you to understand that what I'm going to try to explain, maybe not too many people understand themselves. Let's get into this for a minute. The Constitution of the United States states this, the very few words: we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice to ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and ensure the blessings of liberty to ourselves, our prosperity, do obtain, establish this Constitution of the United States of America. What does that mean? We the people. We elect people to represent us. But there's a problem here, that there are many of those out there that do not like this Constitution. They do not like the Declaration of Independence. They do not like you have freedom of rights. Many of these states are in lockstep with a political party, which is the Democrats, by the way, will turn around and tell you flat out, you had no rights, we'll decide what your rights are. Or we pick and choose what we want to hear, what you should have, what you should have. But when we vote, though, we vote based on common sense. When we understand there's a lot of problems up there in Washington, D.C., we try to vote the right people to ensure our liberties remain in place. But there are those up there who feel differently. Do we all understand the terming of the word constitutional crisis? This is the word that stood on the back of my neck. And I tried to understand. I figured, well, maybe they just don't realize what they're saying, and I ignore it. But when I hear them continuously jumping up and down about constitutional crisis, the other side is just going to destroy democracy, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Then you have these late night TV shows where their commentators spelling the same words, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, all the rest, and saying the same thing, CNN, all the same thing. Everything's a constitutional crisis. And you see these politicians out there fight. They're going to threaten to fight. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And you got these judges who are tied into these Democrat parties. Try to rewrite the Constitution. And yet this word continues to ring out. We're in a constitutional crisis. This is a constitutional crisis. We're going to fight this. We're in a constitutional crisis. Those of you who might not understand what constitutional crisis is, you should be aware of. Constitutional crisis. They know what it means. The lawyers up there know what it means. Some do, probably some don't. They don't know what they're pushing for neither. Constitutional crisis is a problem or conflict in the function of government that the political constitution or other fundamental governing laws is perceived to be unable to resolve. Let me read that again. A constitutional crisis is a problem or conflict in the function of federal government that the political constitution or other fundamental governing law is perceived to be unable to resolve. Now let's get down to this point here. They're jumping up and down and say we got to fight, fight, fight. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Understand the history of this wording. Understand that there are other countries who went through this sort of thing too. And we also went through it. 1860-1861 was the secession of the southern states of the North. What does that mean? What are they trying to push here? The same rhetoric which almost got the President of the United States almost killed. The same rhetoric that puts Donald Trump and others in danger. This is the kind of wording that creates one alternative. And that's what these Democrats are pushing for when they constantly push this wording out there. And these commentators, Hollywood, late night TV shows, news medias, do they understand what they are talking about? Do they understand what they're pushing for? The Democrats do. That's why they're doing it. They're pushing for a frickin' violence any way they can get it. The Democrats have a history from violence and lies and rhetoric against this person, and weaponize the DOJ to go after this person, which is Donald Trump, by the way, or now President Donald Trump. Then they constantly use the same damn rhetoric to go after the voters. They use the same rhetoric to allow Black Lives Matter to run rampant through this country and kill people, rob, steal, and whatever, and burn down. The same rhetoric that does not stop. Now they've stepped up their game to a new thing called constitutional crisis. Constitutional crisis should not be taken lightly. The First Amendment of the Constitution, you have a right, free speech. Yes, you do. I encourage it. But they also better understand what they're also imposing here. When you talk about constitutional crisis, you're talking about a violent siege. You're talking about a war that you're trying to push here. It means exactly what it says. The last part. Governing a law perceived to be unable to resolve. This is what starts secession. Maybe that's why we got all these Democrat states are all lockstep with the Democratic Party, refusing to obey the law of immigration, refusing to obey the law with the Supreme Court about your firearm rights. Refusing to obey the law to allow the president to do the job he's supposed to do, along with looking for corruption. And we're going to fight, fight, fight. That's their attitude. They're trying to gain as much sympathy as they can. They're trying to tell you that this body is going to destroy this country. Democracy is going to be unilaterally be destroyed, which is a lie. But it's their lies that have almost cost this man's life. It's their lies is what constantly divides this country all the time. So every time you hear them talk about this constitutional crisis, understand what it means. Understand what it really means. Constitutional crisis is a problem or conflict in the function of government that the political constitution or the fundamentals governing law is perceived to be unable to resolve. So if you can't resolve it, what does that mean? It means violence. Them bastards are trying to push us into a conflict. They're trying to literally divide this nation. And he should be all called out on that. They're doing everything they can to either tie him down with all these judges that support and put a lot of money in their campaign or in the Democratic Party, so they either hide or try to manipulate or try to get rid of evidence. Or try to get him killed. Or divide us further to a point where we are now in trouble. Understand, when they turn around and they pump words in Joe Biden's head about, you want to take on tyrannical government, you need F-18s and cruise missiles. Or turn around and tell you that the Second Amendment is not absolute. Or better yet, we'll just turn around and we're going to go after Russia collusion and Ukraine phone call and all this other nonsense of lies. And the January 6th, which now I'm starting to understand they deliberately did it for themselves because they wanted it to happen. That's why they didn't want the National Guard up there. Then he tried to purge the National Guard, those who might be sympathetic to Donald Trump. Then he used the DOJ to go after this guy. And their worrying didn't stop because he almost got the guy killed. Constitutional crisis. Everything is a constitutional crisis. We're in trouble here. That's what they keep telling us. But if anybody doesn't really understand what it means, you're going to be blindsided. I understand what it means. I understand when I first heard this word. I thought they were just like, a couple of people don't understand it. But when they constantly keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, they're serious about violence. They're serious about trying to see if they can push this country to a point, to a breaking point. That's why they want these gun laws in place. That's why they want all this stuff in place. So they can maintain full power. Now they're trying everything they can to try this, a constitutional crisis. We're in a constitutional crisis. No, we're not. But they wanted you to believe that we are. And you should step up. And that's their attitude. That's what they're trying to push here. Be wary. Be very, very wary of what they're doing here. I understand what constitutional crisis means. Till then, keep your friends and family close and do not be afraid to defend yourselves. And call out these politicians who push this nonsense. Because someone out there is going to do something really stupid. And it should be on them. Till next time, you take care.